There are no jokies, holy smokies. Did the cryptocurrency and stock market bull market just end because of this terrible news? Hi there, lovely individuals. Peepo Coin Channel. As you can see, depending on whether you're me or you, there's a sea of red to my left or right. However, we have some... It was intriguing when it fell, but some people will interpret it as negative news. We'll talk about that in a moment. However, we'll begin with some positive news because, well, we'll save the terrible stuff for last. We'll also examine the markets. We'll make an effort to determine how this might impact us in the future. It's Saturday, and that's all I want. All I ask is that you smile at me so that I can radiate those positive feelings. Since likes are free, let's get started. Smishity, hit that like button. As of right now, XRP is trading around $2, down about 37 cents and 0.5% for the day. As you can see, XRP continues to hold the trend. We will address it shortly. In my opinion, the cryptocurrency market is holding up really well to this news, which we'll discuss in a moment. But if you look at the stock market, for instance, you can see that there was a sell-off when the news was released. What do you know? I'll take it the other way. Let me start with the good news, I said. What do you know? Let's move quickly. The good news. Right now, the way I'm doing it doesn't make sense. Time of technical difficulty. I had one option in mind, but I decided to discuss the graphs instead. Let's move on to the positive news. All right, we'll expedite it. That's wonderful news. I take it that President Trump has stated that he is open to visiting China for trade negotiations with Chinese President Xi. This will be quite significant. It appears that we received those updates regarding the China-US deal last weekend, even if they were from Thursday and Friday. After that, there haven't been any developments. Nothing is taking place. All right, after our first agreement, nothing has happened. What is wrong with it then? That's it. The president was just in the Middle East when he said, "Hey, listen, I'm going to China if I have to in order to finish this." Correct. He's proactive, really. He is attempting to do tasks. Additionally, I condemn, not my. What word am I looking for? For that, I commend him. Correct. Think is bad, condemn. Correct. Thus, it will be fascinating to observe the outcome of the entire China-US arrangement. With the pause, keep in mind that the countdown continues. As a result, it is estimated that the regular halt in reciprocal tariffs will occur in less than 60 days. Then there's the China halt, which is about to end. Ultimately, they must close a transaction. This measure has the potential to be significant for cryptocurrency, right? The Genius Act. According to Senator Bill Hagerty, the Senate will create history next week when it passes the Genius Act, which creates the first pro-growth legal framework for stable currency. In addition to protecting consumers and boosting demand for U.S. treasuries, this bill would solidify the U.S. dollar's dominance and guarantee that the U.S., not our enemies, controls innovation in the digital asset market. And we've seen that the Democrats have stopped these actions and laws, so maybe they can pass it. Hopefully, we'll get this fantastic news next week. We'll see if we can do this, but Senator Hagerty is optimistic, which will undoubtedly be excellent news for the cryptocurrency market. According to K33 Research, public firms are stacking Bitcoin like never before. In 2025, 97 nations will be involved, up from 78, with China, Canada, and the US at the forefront. Is Bitcoin the company's new objective? We have discussed this numerous times. How many businesses will include Bitcoin as an alternative investment into their balance sheets, in my opinion? They invest in the same manner. Companies in the technology or pharmaceutical industries occasionally make real estate investments because they understand that we can't have all of our eggs in one basket. We'll see businesses doing this as well, just like a typical investor. It may not be Nvidia, Microsoft, and Amazon, but there will be other companies that will be involved. Perhaps the plan was rejected by Microsoft's shareholders, but it's possible that other large corporations would follow suit in the future. All right, it's time for the big news. Therefore, when we examine the graphs, it becomes somewhat more logical. Breaking news, huh? The United States 8AA credit rating was downgraded to AA+ by Moody's. For the first time ever, Moody's has cut the U.S. credit rating. The cause of the US government debt's precarious trajectory and the ensuing interest load. According to Moody's, the US debt to GDP ratio is expected to reach 134% by 2035. By 2035, federal interest payments are expected to account for 30% of total revenue, up from 18% in 2024 and 9% in 2021. Correct? Interest rate payments are insane. Additionally, as a proportion of GDP, deficit expenditure has reached World War II levels. The largest concern receiving the least attention is the US debt crisis. Since this is a significant issue and not enough people are paying enough attention to it, I have been discussing it a lot over the past 2 years and have even made several films with titles like 35 trillion and 36 trillion. And I believe that the president is aware of it. In order to lower the debt as much as possible, he's attempting to increase investments. When he was the president before you have a situation where he was the government before you. He is not without fault. They have increased the debt significantly, and as you can see, revenue, federal interest payments, and the proportion of revenue have all essentially doubled over the last 4 years, from 2021 to 2024. This indicates that either revenue is declining or payments are increasing. Thus, something must kick in this place. Look at the interest payments or the revenue, which he is attempting to alter. I believe that the Fed can influence that if interest rates are lowered, but the president is powerless to change any of that. Therefore, it will be interesting to watch how it develops. Why might this be bad then? Correct. Additionally, it was lowered by S&P and Fitch in addition to Moody's. Correct. Why? Growing debt, skyrocketing interest rates, and no strategy to address them. Why is it important? Foreign investors would be deterred by higher borrowing rates, decreased investor confidence, and impending volatility. The downgrade has never been undone by any of the agencies. This is going to be intriguing once more. Now that doesn't signal America's end, does it? Conversely, it frequently occurs that you get degraded, and then it's all right. Some nations suffer greatly as a result of being downgraded from, to really, very bad. America remains AA1, which is excellent. However, once more, investors may find this more difficult due to increased borrowing costs and other factors. President Trump will now publicly state that this is most likely a demotion of Biden. Perhaps he is correct. Give or take, he's only been here for 100 days. A bit more than that since January. Well, but there are 2 things we need to think about. One amusing thing is that it actually took place after the market closed. The announcement was made immediately following the closing of the Friday market, so either they or someone had some conspiracy theories at that time, right? Someone didn't want the market to sell off since they have a large, position open and most likely option contracts. They are advising us to wait until the market closes before repeating that action. Options expire, and they also waited until Friday. You have to discover it because you know that cryptocurrency is still trading, even when you saw the aftermarket stock market drop. However, this incident occurred on Friday. Where are you now? Bitcoin is visible, and we can also examine XRP. Friday's markets closed at this time. It retreated little, but not significantly. It's interesting to note that we experienced a slight setback. I take it you can see 11?